Kuns in Vermaak. Yes, Marianah Lourens with art and entertainment. I am at Isithatha, and this, of course, is such an amazing place. It grew over the years, and our drama mama, Sharon Rother, of course, always when we say drama mama, we also think of Linda Louise Swain, because you've been together for 40 years almost.
Yeah, well, 30 officially as a studio, but yes, we've known one another for at least 40 years.
For at least 40
years.
Plus years. Yes. And Isithatha has grown over the years from being just an old house.
Well, yes, we've actually owned the place for just over 5 years, and we took a couple of years to get business rights, and we renovated after all the paperwork was through, and it was an old guest house, and now it's a theatre, and it's a very busy little space. It has a school in it, it has a coffee shop, and it has a lot of theatre, a lot of dance, and everything happening here. So.
Yes, and an amazing theatre.
Yes, it's a beautiful little space.
Yes.
It's a black box.
Yes, black box theatre. It's stunning. But we are, of course, here today. Sharon, she's been teaching drama. It's a community project.
That's right.
The whole thing, and she's the trustee.
One of the five trustees, yes. I'm a founding trustee.
But you're the founding person.
Yes, together with Pambili.
And that's something. Yeah. That's huge, yes.
Yeah.
And also Grizel, who I have known for many years, and we pick up the threads every now and again. You, of course, in your own right, you do paint and do art, and she does crafts, and she is amazing, but she doesn't want to come and talk about herself. No, whenever I ask her, no, my art is not good enough, then she brings another artist for me to interview, and then another one. You have now edged us on to talk about Peter Terry, because Peter Terry is an old friend of yours from many years ago. You're going to tell us now.
Yes, he is.
How many years?
Well, we actually go back to Sub-A classes at St Andrew's Prep and DSG. The very first play he and I were in together, he was a little soldier, which is quite ironic because his story, which he's going to be bringing to us, is about a soldier, and I was a little fat fairy. He's written he's written many plays, but he's actually had a very interesting theatrical career for the past 50 years. I'd like to talk about the plays, the one play he put on at the Grahamstown Festival, which was called Immortal, which was about the Blowcrans Bridge accident. And this should actually come to PE as well at some stage. It's very interesting. It's about bringing the rocks through for the Grahamstown Cathedral from Port Alfred or from the quarry there, and the bridge collapsed. And the whole of Grahamstown rallied out to the Blowcrans to deal with the injured and the dead, because there were a lot of people killed. But that's the Grahamstown story. But his interest has always been First World War. And I'd like to speak about the play that he's bringing called At All Costs. It's about Delver Wood. And when they were given instructions to go in and take the wood, they were all told to take it at all costs. So that's why the South Africans had such an incredibly heavy loss at Delver Wood. I am very interested in history, as you know, and so I'm interested in the historical side of things, always. But now to get to the history of Peter, I'd like to tell you a few things about him. He studied drama at Rhodes, and then he's been involved with the wider entertainment industry, as he says, for the last 50 years. He was actually involved with the State Theatre, and he ran that for a long while until he was asked to due to political reasons. And he acted in some interesting shows, which you all will know. Little small guest roles, Generations, That's Right, Isidingo, Seven Alarm, Binnelanders, The Wild, and yes, he says all those sort of shows. But he was very famous, as you'll remember, for keeping his head down a toilet bowl. He did that.
What? Toilet bowl?
He did that advert for the Domestos. Do you remember when it said Domestos kills all known germs dead? That was Peter. He then is also recognised for his part in the advert about the CTM towels as Bob and Nige. He was Nige.
Okay.
You know, that's why when we saw his picture, we thought, this
We know
guy
the
looks
face.
familiar. We know we've seen him. And then, of course, Grizel tells us, yes, no, well, he's been in all.
I think everybody will recognize him. Of course they will.
The spots in soapies and in ads. You have to recognize the voice. Well, not only the voice, but the face. Yes.
He phoned me and said, I'm going to be in PE for a few hours. He had to fly down for something, meet me at the airport. So I flew down, met him at the airport. He flew down. I had coffee with him at the airport. And standing there, years later, this waiter comes up and looks at him, walks back, comes back and says, Nige! And I was shattered. And Peter says this happens over and over again.
Yes.
He's most recognized for that part of Nige.
Nige, yes.
Anyway,
Interesting.
it is.
It's amazing.
But we said that was his one great claim to fame.
But now, of course, he is coming to the Isithatha Box Theatre.
Yes.
And you know, I just want to say here that you'll hear sound effects, you'll hear a helicopter flying above us, and so on, because it's busy here. Because
It's
we're
very
near
busy.
Warmer Township.
Yes.
This is where we're situated here at Isithatha, and it is just sometimes noisy, but we don't worry about that because we get amazing shows here at Isithatha. And he's coming in 11 days' time to put on At All Costs.
That's correct, yes. And there are only 2 shows. You know, in Port Elizabeth, I mean, we only seat 80 people, possibly 100. We can, because it's a one-man show, we can actually stretch it to 100 seats. And that's not a lot, which means we can have 200 people. And the quality of show that is coming here, you know, it's such a treat for Port Elizabeth audiences that, you know, I think that those tickets are already, I know when we first announced that this show was coming.
And of course it is a historical show about the First World War.
Yes.
At the time period is First World War time.
That's right.
And you know, the older people love it.
And
so
also,
we're going to be sold out.
Yes, and also, you know, Isithatha has something quite unique for audiences because they can come and park right inside the grounds.
Yes.
And a lot of people are very nervous to go to the theatre nowadays because they have to park in areas that are a little bit dodgy and they're worried about their cars getting stolen and things like that. At Isithatha, you park right in, it's secure. So that is a great advantage. And then, of course, you've got this beautiful little black box theatre and this quality performer coming down to our city. It's a real treat. So the details will all be on the Isithatha Facebook pages and the Instagram pages.
Get your ticket.
Yes, and the details. So bookings will be run through email, which will be gavin.rother@gmail.com. And the ticket prices are 150 Rand. Well worth it for a show of this quality. And as I mentioned,
And it's going to be a matinee at 3 p.m.
and a 6 p.m.
So you're
That's
not
right.
even going to get to bed too late.
No, absolutely.
Because I don't know how long his show is.
And the show is actually for 1 hour.
1 hour.
He suggested it's not for young children, but older children do the wars during their matric syllabus as well. And he recommends that they come to this. He also feels that he's played to veterans from the war, or not from the war, but veterans who've been around, and he said it's had amazing crits and standing ovations. Every single show has had a standing ovation.
Yes.
He's just been in a hotel now, and he's going back for the Hilton's Festival. It's a very dramatic show. And it's just Peter, but he takes you through the different times, from the war through to 1970. And he explains why.
If you're interested in history, and for me, of course, I love it. I love hearing about, there are people older than us, Grizel, who actually were born just after the First World War, they're actually still alive. They're old now, but they may be able to come and see a show, or they heard from their parents and grandparents about things that happened in the First World War.
And I must just add that our theatre is wheelchair friendly. So we have a wheelchair ramp, and, so if anyone is needing assistance to access the theatre, it is quite easily
accessible.
Absolutely.
Yes, totally accessible.
Yes.
So let nothing hold you away.
No.
And of course, at all costs, it's such a meaningful title. Grizel, now, of course, we don't want to give the whole story away, but we don't even know exactly how he tells it because we've only got what he's printed.
Well, we know, I know I've been sort of seeing a lot of things on social media, and I've just seen nothing but amazing responses
And
from everyone.
revelations,
Yes.
reaction.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Everyone has been absolutely blown away by it. So we can't wait. We really can't wait.
And Peter seems to draw you into his story. He draws you in at the time of Delver Wood, and then into the present day, which is 1917, and then later on.
After. Onward.
1970.
Yes.
As well. And he explains why as he goes through the show.
Yes.
He's a very interesting man. But just to go back to his youth, I would like to tell you something.
Because you've been friends for over 50 years.
Yes, we have. And his eldest brother started the very first computer at Rhodes, which took up the size of a room. His second brother is one of the top pipers in South Africa, internationally acclaimed as well as far as Scotland, and he's a bagpipe maker. So he comes from an incredibly creative family. And Peter has this ability to be extremely funny and extremely serious, and of course he's very articulate because English was his main subject as well.
Okay, so his expression of the language, the execution,
Yes.
is just something to behold.
Yes.
Because that's always so nice.
Yes.
To hear good English, because you switch on anything today, social media, whatever, you actually will cringe at some of the language you hear. So it's going to be so good to hear good English.
I really recommend that the community PE come to the show because it's going to be something very different. We haven't seen something like this for a long, long time. Come to a little theatre like this is really wonderful for Isithatha. Some people don't know about Isithatha, but it'll certainly advertise this incredible place, which I admire totally. And one thing which Sharon hasn't mentioned, once a month they have a lovely open market here. Food market, which is really fabulous.
I've only heard good things
Yes.
about the food market, and of course the coffee shop, and that is Death by Coffee, which is always a nice place to go to, even at your end of the woods, Grizel.
And I think that this monthly market, always reminds me of this facet of the Grahamstown Festival every month. Drumming, performers on this little veranda, a performer somewhere else.
A few stalls.
Stores and food. It really has a wonderful, wonderful vibe.
I think the most important thing about it is that Jen van der Linden, who is the convener of it, is, really adamant about making sure that there's quality. We have incredible vendors. It's also a environmentally friendly market in that you should see that we have hardly any waste at the end. We've got everything is recycled, and there's a worm farm, and everything is
So all the tree huggers.
It keeps everyone happy. And we also employ a lot of young people and older people from Warmer to come and work here for the market. So we're creating jobs. And that is one of the most important things about this project, is to try and create jobs, because the more people that can be employed in our country, the better. And of course, the theatre is also employing people, because we have, from anything from car guards to backstage to
Whatever you name it, we need it.
We need it, and hopefully this project will grow, and we'll, the more, as I say, jobs will affect our crime. statistics, and maybe we have a bit of a utopia vision here, but we're keeping that.
You have to dream big, Sharon.
Yeah. Well, we did, and all we wanted was a shack actually, and we got this. So we are now starting the second phase of our fundraising.
Exactly. It's been such a joy to just see it grow from the beginning.
Yeah.
And how it just evolved. And now, of course, the main thing is we're getting Peter Terry, and he's been on our TV screens, in our ads, and he's a super English boffin.
And very much an Eastern Cape.
And an Eastern
Cape gentleman.
Yes.
He lived in Pretoria for his work, but he says wherever he goes.
Where does Peter live now?
He lives in Johannesburg now. His wife was a ballerina, and he's a new grandfather, 6-month-old grandchild. So very proud of his little girl.
And his grandchild is probably in Joburg.
In Joburg.
And he's going to stay there. He's not coming home.
Yes.
That's home now.
Of course it is.
Peter, we are talking about you, and it's going to be so amazing just to see the history. I can't wait. I'm sure you can't wait.
Definitely.
I can't wait.
And we are actually open for everybody, just you have to hurry.
I would advise that.
You have to hurry to buy your tickets.
Yes.
So not phone, but
gavin.rother@gmail.com.
@gmail.com.
Yes, or follow Isithatha Trust on Facebook.
On Facebook and
Isithatha Theatre on Instagram. You can WhatsApp me, Sharon Rother, on 082-774-9083. So I'll just repeat that again. It's 082-774-9083. And I'll happily sort of lead you in the right direction for bookings, or if there are any questions.
But I mean, social media, you can't go wrong. Everybody can reach Facebook. If you're listening and you're hearing this and you want to come and see this amazing one-man show by Peter Terry, it's going to take you back to First World War, which all of us weren't there. But you can come and just enjoy it with us. I'm just going to now say goodbye because our time is up. Sharon, can't wait to see you in the Black Box Theatre here at Isithatha. Isithatha on Facebook, and you spell it Isithatha.
That's great.
Isithatha, as you say, but you can put the H's in after the T, so it's Isithatha. And on Instagram.
That's right.
So thank you so much, Grizel, Hart,
Pleasure. It's been lovely
for coming. Our
Thank you.
history boffin, and Sharon Rother, our drama mama.
Thank
you so much. Time for us to say goodbye, Marianah Lourens. Wat nou groet met Arrivari.